That's how, we stay alive. That's how our body stays in taking food. We have energy. We're good to go. And body fat is stored energy. And then our metabolism is the energy output. So let's say, for example, if someone comes into my wellness, they weigh 186 pounds. According to the unit system that we developed, they have 186 units. So it's a direct comparison. So let's say during that day they're taking in 186 units in terms of food. And then their metabolism is burning 186 units throughout the day. What's going to happen? They're going to stay at 186 pounds. So usually people will come to us to want to lose weight. So then we say, all right, well, what can we do to change this equation here? And we'll start talking to them about, their weight loss journey. We say to everybody, look at where you are today, and look at yourself a year from now. And this is something you can ask yourself. Where do you want to be a year from now? It doesn't just have to be weight loss. It could be anything. It could be school. It could be creative projects you have. If you're a musician, let's say you want to play a couple of shows, release an album or something. It could be anything. A year from now, where do you want to be? And think of that where you are today. Because a year is going to go by anyways. Whether you do something or not, that year is going to go by. So what action can we take to make that year, looking back later on, looking back to today, what actions can we take to see that we have reached a certain goal that we set for ourselves? So back to this example here. So the person that weighs 186 pounds, their metabolism is burning 186 units because that's their current weight. But what if during that day they start taking in only 136 units? That's 50 units less than they're naturally burning throughout the day. And that, in a nutshell, is the simplicity of how people will lose weight at our wellness center. And we'll go into more detail of that. So as we set people up with that 1 year vision, where they want to be a year from now, we take that, we break it up into 90-day blocks. So set short 90-day goals for yourself. We do the same thing with vision improvement as well. This is just an example. So we got the first 90-day, second 90-day, 30, and then we will have 1 year that will have passed. And these little things right here are hurdles. The only thing that will stop us from reaching our goals is whether or not we overcome the obstacles that get in the way. So I'm just going to go a little bit more into the units, just so everyone can understand that, as that's part of the wellness portion of this lecture. So when we're helping people reach their wellness goal, we give them these little booklets. So this is just a scan of one of the booklets. So let's say they fill out their current weight, 86 pounds. And now we're going to get into how you calculate units. Like I said, it involves calories, fat, and fiber. So what we do when we want to calculate units from food, we look at the calories. All right, something has 190 calories. We're going to cross off the last number, cross off that 0, then we have 19 coming from that 190 calories. We look at total fat, which is 3. And because we want to encourage low-fat foods, we double that, which will give us 6. And then we'll have 25. And then the fiber is our ally. Because we encourage high-fiber food choices, we'll subtract this from the final total. So if you take the 19 from the calories, the 6 from the fat, add that is 25, subtract the 8, you'll have 17. So that person right there, whatever that label goes to, they just ate 17 units. And throughout the day, that's what we help people tally up and report and keep track of how many units they're taking into their body during that day. So then, let's say, for example, over the course of the day, this person took in 155 units. That's less than their current weight, So they're guaranteed to lose weight during that day on their weight loss journey. So the total right there would be 31. But wait, we're not done yet. Just to show you how it will break down, how we help people fill in their daily food choices, they have that target weight right there, 136, because it's lower than the 186. So that's going to help them reach their goal. So when this is all filled out, let's say you have your breakfast, your lunch, and then your dinner. So this is just an example, but it's a great example, because if you look at how many units they spent during that day, it was 109. So already they're taking in less than their metabolism is burning. So they'll get a subtotal of 77. And then we put that here. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well that's good. I know how to take in less energy than my body is naturally burning throughout the day. But what about activity and exercise? That has to help for something. And yes, it does. What we do is we break activity up into 3 different categories: light, moderate, and high. So this is something you can sort of question yourself. For me, I bike ride quite a bit. So let's say I go for a half-hour bike ride. I'm probably spending 10 minutes of that very intense, going up hills, just pushing myself to the limit. 20 minutes of that is moderate, just cruising along, enjoying, having a good time. So what I would do in that example is I would take, 10 minutes, 2 boxes of moderate, 1 box of high. But in this example here, this person just did 10 minutes, 1, 2, 3, so 30 minutes total of light, then 1, 2, 3, 30 minutes of moderate. And that is going to be units they are earning that they can spend. Once someone asked me, he said, well, Jeff, I really like fried fish, I really like fish and chips, that kind of thing. So, and I said, that's okay, there are no forbidden foods in the system. You just have to know how to work with it. And he asked me, is there anything I can do to offset that? And I said, yes, there is. It's activity and exercise. Because that's how you can earn units to help with that. So keeping with this example here, they earn 18 units. So there's that food that they spent, 155. They had 31 left over. They earn 18 more units with activity. So then their accelerator credits would be 49, which is great. And that's how, at SkillPower Wellness, we help people lose weight. Our basic model is we want to help people look good, feel good, live well, and prosper, and make decisions that fill this criteria. And for me, when I was a student here learning about Kriya Yoga and Ayurveda, came into a big factor, because ever since I learned about these ancient sciences, Ayurveda, the science of life, it stuck with me. And I would always think, how can I eat Ayurvedically? I understand I'm not in India, I'm in America, but there are basic principles that we can apply to today. So if we want to talk about Ayurvedic diet and wellness, eating Ayurvedically, no matter where you may be, is all about finding the right balance. So then you may ask, Jeff, how can we eat Ayurvedically anywhere in America? My answer to that is simple. Be in harmony with your environment. Think of how you can come into harmony with your environment and what foods you can eat that will do. So maybe what fruits or vegetables are in season. I know right here there'd probably still be a garden on campus, if I'm not mistaken. So that is a perfect example. The food is growing right where you are in your environment, which you can eat to be in harmony with that. Or let's say you're in Florida. Like for me, when I graduated, I toured my book across the country. And when I was in Florida, I was thinking, all right, well, today, what can I eat to be in harmony with my environment? And the answer is pretty simple. It was you eat an orange. That comes right from this area, and that helps me be in harmony with that. And if it's winter, you start thinking about root vegetables like sweet potatoes. If anyone's familiar with Chinese medicine, that fits into the yang category, which is a big part about eating in the winter. And you can use your imagination too. I remember when I was a student here, there was an Ayurvedic conference in the spring. And so the speaker was talking about a little bit of Ayurveda, and they were telling him, all right, well, we want to have a lot of food, a lot of Ayurvedic food here. So he said, well, what food would you normally have here? And they said, oh, bag lunch, some sandwiches, something like that. And so that was his answer from an Ayurvedic expert. So you can think and use that to your advantage. What would normally happen, and what would help me be in harmony with where I am right now. A little trick that I picked up, I remember when I was taking the Hindi course, one day we went on a field trip. We went to an Indian restaurant. And we had some great food, and at the end of the meal, we had lassi, which is a cultured yogurt beverage. And it was great, and the professor was talking about how it's very good for the digestive system, all the probiotics, all that. So then I started thinking, well, what if I started having yogurt after I had a meal? That's not too different, right? So you can do things like this and take principles of Ayurveda and apply them to your situation. So that was one little trick that I picked up, having yogurt, because that serves the digestive system just as well. So now we're going to get into what I think is one of the funnest parts about SkillPower Wellness, which would be the SkillPower Vision Improvement Program that I've been developing. So believe it or not, it is possible to improve your vision to 20/20 or beyond, no matter how bad your eyesight may be. If you wear glasses or contacts, you may not have to be wearing glasses or contacts your entire life. Like weight loss, it requires a lifestyle change, but it is possible to do this. And that's one thing that we're pushing at SkillPower, is bringing an awareness of this. So I just brought a couple of tips for gradual vision improvement that we have, because it actually does relate to the science of Kriya Yoga. You might know from this course the idea of self-study, the science of self-study, observing yourself, physical things going on, being aware of that. You can do that with your eyes. What are the levels of comfort, and how clearly do you see things at certain times? Eyesight is actually very dynamic in nature. If we're outside, the eye is going to be responding a lot differently than when we're inside, and it changes more than we might be aware. So can we then become aware of these changes and then use that to help us reach a vision improvement goal if we have one? One thing you can start to think to yourself, does your eyesight become progressively worse or progressively better throughout the day? The first second you wake up, your eyes open, you see the sunlight in the morning. If you don't have glasses or contacts, then you just want to look, right? How clearly are things? Just take, spend maybe not even a minute or so taking inventory. How clearly do things seem? And then, before you go to bed, in that same environment, in the same room, the lighting may be different, but you can still think to yourself, all right, now comparing this moment to when I woke up this morning, am I seeing things in more detail or in less detail? We also have a eye chart on our website, skillpowerwellness.com. You go to the vision improvement page, you can download an eye chart in PDF form. And you could position that in your room or your dorm room or something, somewhere where you could stand 10 feet away and look at it. And that's another great way to really know how much you're seeing. If you're standing 10 feet away, there's probably 10 feet to that wall, I'm guessing. So let's say I could read 3 lines down when I wake up. If at the end of the day I can read 5 lines down, I know for sure that I'm seeing more right now than I was this morning. And that's another way how we can use tools like this to check to see how we're progressing. One of the reasons behind the word skill power is that it's like willpower, but we need more than just willpower to reach our goals sometimes. So willpower is great, no doubt about it. It's what gives us the motivation to get things done, to start working towards our goals. And then when we take skills and tools, combine that with our gusto to make something happen, we get the skill power, which is why we call our wellness center SkillPower Wellness. So as I had mentioned, just like the weight loss program that we have at SkillPower, we treat the vision program similarly because it also requires lifestyle changes. If you think about, those of you who have glasses, if you think about when you got glasses, you're probably in a dark room, you had that thing up to your face and she's flipping it 1 or 2. It's better or worse. So that's a very dark room. And there you can see the finest line in great detail. So you know that in that moment your eyes work towards seeing very small. But during the day, how often are you in that same environment? That's one thing to think about. If that prescription is for a dark room to see small, if you're in bright light, do you need the same strength of prescription to see just as much? You might not. And that's one of the small lifestyle changes we talk about, is when do you use your strongest prescription of glasses, and when do you take a step down or go about your business without any glasses at all, and knowing when to do one and when to do the other. Because we believe it is always possible to reach a goal. You just got to be committed and dedicated. And one fascinating thing that starts to happen as people begin to improve their vision, there's a recalibration of the nervous system. Everything starts to change. The eyes are connected to so much going on in the brain, and that's connected our central nervous system to our peripheral nervous system, and there's so much interconnected there. So once we start to change this, all that starts to change with it as well. It's a fascinating process. The human body is capable of amazing transformations if given the opportunity. So you could try this out for yourself. Let's say you're just walking between classes. Try walking without your glasses on and see how you do. And start to notice any changes that might be helping, that might be happening. So we have this motto at our Wellness Center. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be serious. Some people might say, if they have a weight loss goal, they might admit, I haven't been keeping track of my units, I haven't been exercising as much as I should have been, and they get really, really down on themselves. But we tell them, you don't have to be perfect. If you don't do that every day, that's okay. Just be serious, because your seriousness is what keeps you towards reaching your goals. So back to vision improvement. As I was saying, you can wear weaker lenses at times. Of course, things like driving or operating heavy machinery, you'd want to wear strong, your top prescription, because that's a serious task. But let's say you're at a computer right now. You probably don't need your strongest glasses to see 2-3 feet away, or watching TV 5 or 6, or eating a meal. So that's the start of different lifestyle changes that you can make for vision improvement. We talked about the neurophysiology that happens. And as I was just saying, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be serious. I came up with a 5-5-5 rule for the vision improvement. So I just bring this up here. So what I did when I, is that clear enough?
You can remove the, this announcement.
Okay, so these are the different exercises I've come up with over my time experiencing, testing out what works for eyesight, what doesn't in different programs, and putting together one of my own that I thought would work best. So I thought, what if I make a 5-5-5 rule? So instead of every day of the week, just 5 days out of those weeks, you want to be exercising your eyes. So I have 5 exercises here, 5 there, and 4 there. As you'll notice, there's essential, recommended, and then extra credit. So the essential exercises are ones that are essential throughout the day, which you definitely will want to do. The recommended are just like when you have a recommended reading list for your course. You don't have to read it, but if you do, it will serve you well. Just like with these eye exercises, they're recommended exercises. And then extra credit, they help as well, but they're not essential. So, if 5 days out of the week, you spend time doing those exercises, and they're all audio guided too, so you know it only takes 20 minutes a day. Some vision programs will require many hours every day, and that's what discouraged me a lot when I started my vision improvement journey. I thought, I don't have this much time throughout the day, how will I ever do this? So I started developing this program, and then from that I recently came up with this 5-5-5 rule. So 5 exercises a day, 5 days out of the week, 5 weeks in a row. And that is what has been working very well with us at SkillPower Wellness. Now to go back to our presentation, there's that. And as I talked before about self-study, just listen to the eyes. See what you can, how you can become in touch with what these organs are telling you. Are they telling you to take off your glasses and let them relax, or to see something more clearly? And so one of my favorite exercises is, believe it or not, a Kriya yoga exercise designed for vision improvement. So as you might have experienced doing yoga in his class with Dr. Singh, the Kriya yoga, it's not an easy thing to explain, but you know what a Kriya is when you're experiencing it. And with this exercise, the Healing Tears exercise, which is a recommended one, that cultivates a Kriya in the eye. So it is, just to let you all know, it's powerful and intense, but it's also very effective. I've noticed at times in our wellness center, working with the Healing Tears exercise, after I'm done with it, I'll look at the eye chart and I'll see I can read 20/40, which is close to 20/20 from seeing things very blurry. And it doesn't last, it's not a permanent thing, but it will last a couple minutes up to an hour or so sometimes, because it's so powerful, and over time you're taking steps, getting closer and closer and closer to that goal. And the reason that we have these sensations, some will say it's a slight burning or a twitching or pinprick, that's how it's sort of described, the sensation of Kriya in the eye organs. But the reason is because the optic nerve is regenerating as this is happening. And, so that might be a little small. I put it here just so it'll be a part of the presentation, and I believe you'll have access to this presentation through Dr. Singh too. And I also I give away 5 exercise demo discs with programs in there too. If anyone would like to try that, I have some with me. I also have some full programs as well. But basically, this is the Healing Tears exercise. So what will happen, there's a big dot card that comes with the program, which looks like this. So you can fold it, get it to sit on a desk like that, put it over a computer screen or something. And it's simple because it just requires, after you go through warm-ups, just warm-ups for the eyes, mostly it just requires staring at the dot without squinting or blinking, but what happens, that is what brings the Kriya into the eye and what makes it so effective. So this will wrap up the wellness portion of the lecture. And so everyone knows where SkillPower Wellness is. It's in South Attleboro. This is our address, 882 Washington Street. Every week we have special weight loss and wellness classes, which are at Thursday nights, 7 to 7:30. And we have a special meeting happening a week from today, which will be that Thursday night class I'll be putting on, which is on vision improvement sunglasses, which are a fascinating thing in themselves that we've been using at the Wellness Center. We have these sunglasses, or they look like sunglasses, but actually they allow you to see almost as clearly as regular glasses without having actual lenses in them because of the way that the sunglasses are designed. So those are a great tool for vision improvement as well. I wear those all the time instead of regular glasses now. It's a little interesting to be wearing them indoors, so people think, why is this person wearing glasses indoors? You know, going shopping or going somewhere else, you know, hanging out with people, think, well, Jeff, why are you wearing glasses indoors? But, you know, they don't understand. It's just one of those things. So I'll be doing a whole meeting on that next week, Thursday, April 25th at 7 p.m. Everyone is welcome to attend if you would like. And just to say a little bit about what SkillPower is. It's not a business about making money. What it is, it's about becoming a greater self and then helping others do the same. So we have all these wellness coaches in our wellness center, and we become very interested in reaching our wellness goals. So we become that greater self of ours. We become exactly what we wanted to be a year before, just as I was saying earlier, where you want to be a year from now. So that's what we set to do. And we help others do the same, and that's what makes it so exciting as a line of work. And we have a goal also of opening up a SkillPower Wellness Center in Dartmouth, which we'd like to do in August, and we'd like to have yoga there and you know, other divisions like that. Like I was saying about Ayurveda, what is in your environment. Well, yoga is a big thing about what's happening on this campus with Dr. Singh. So just naturally, yoga would be something to have at the SkillPower Dartmouth location. So I'm sure you've talked a little bit about chakras here in this class, Science of Kriya Yoga. I remember that was one of the most funnest things learning about, very in detail. And I've come to learn that there's a big correspondence between the energy in your chakras and your creativity. So take note of this. If you're ever feeling out of balance, you might be able to shift that balance by doing something creative. It may sound crazy, but I found it to be true, and you might also. So you could try playing a new instrument. You know, go to the piano. If you have no idea how to play a piano, just go to it, start pressing keys. Even if it's just simply, you might be surprised what comes out. Or banging on the drums. And that's just a musical thing. It could be writing, poetry, watercoloring, painting, that's a big thing. A lot of people find that therapeutic. Or singing or learning a new song, playing stuff like play, but anything that you could think that is creative, you can use that to help bring yourself into balance if you're feeling out of balance. So for me, my big creative thing has been my Love Beyond Life novel, which I wrote for my honors thesis here, and graduating here, the Commonwealth Scholar. And the Indic Studies department contributed a lot to this in ways they might not even know. A lot of the courses that I was taking here sowed seeds into my consciousness that fruition unintentionally as I was creating this, as I was working on this project. So I came up with this idea of quantum psychophysics. A couple of times, Dr. Singh and I would get into good conversations about quantum physics. Very interesting things. And in psychology, when we're studying sensation and perception, there's this whole idea about psychophysics. So then I thought, just to do something a little bit experimental and fun for my honors thesis, what if I put those together, quantum physics and psychophysics? So I kind of made it up, but for good reason. If you take quantum physics, add that to psychology, the study of behavior, sensation, perception, human experience, you will get quantum psychophysics. So it takes into account human experience, sensation and perception, which is already what psychophysics is about, and adding the quantum layer to it, the permeable nature of reality, how things are interconnected. And I believe you've also talked about Transcendental Consciousness in this class. And what I think, which I made a little bit of a point about in this book, is about reaching Transcendental Consciousness without TM instruction, as is typically happening. Because to me, it's just like when you challenge yourself to eat Ayurvedically. How can you use your intuition to reach a certain goal? So just for example, something you can do if you wanted to get that transcendental meditation experience without the instruction, what if you just sit down and you question to yourself inside, what is transcendental consciousness? What is transcendental consciousness? Then you let it go. Would you arrive at the same place that transcendental meditators are? That is the question. And that connects to an idea that I brought up. Let's see. An idea that I brought up about Morphic Resonance, which I will get into more in detail later on. But basically, the idea behind Morphic Resonance is if someone out there has done something that you seek to do, because that's already been done before, somewhere, by someone, you can do it also. Because they're a human and you're a human. And it's as simple as that. Everything in between is just a matter of connecting to that resonance, resonating on that same wavelength, on that same frequency of where you want to be until you embody that form as well. So there is definitely a lot more to this novel than what I've already said. That was just a small part. It's a hypothetical universe where quantum psychophysics, things like that already exist as part of the coursework. So let's say, here you want to study psychology, that's a common thing. In the universe of this book, quantum psychophysics is a common thing. And I got the idea of Love Beyond Life at an Indic Studies seminar one night. There was a guest speaker here, and he was leading a meditation, and he was afterwards he was reflecting upon that, upon what we just experienced. And he made this point about sometimes when we meditate, you can experience the essence of the universe as a form of love. And he said that that love will always be there. It's always there. So if you're upset one day, if you're sad about something, in a really bad mood, that love is still there. If you're really happy, really ecstatic about something, still that love is always there. So that inspired my title, because then I thought, all right, life comes and goes. We wake up every day, we go to sleep every night. Sometimes we die, and sometimes we are reincarnated. Life is always coming and going, but no matter what, that love is always there. So there's that love beyond the life, which is how this whole title came to be. And I also incorporated the musical element, Angels and Airwaves, as they had an album, Love, at that time. It just became sort of the soundtrack what I would listen to as I would work on this. And it just started to fit so perfectly with what I was putting together. So I see that as the mystical element, connecting to the universe. Meditation, naturally being at that state as you go about your everyday things. So that mystical element was inspired by the Indic Studies department, and it became a part of what became a big part of my life after graduation. So, as I had mentioned, I did a book tour right after I graduated. And I went through all these cities, just touring this novel, and it was a great experience. And I was using Ayurveda, thinking, what can I be eating now to be in harmony with my environment as I'm doing this? And just a quick note that I'm pretty proud of. My book last year in 2012, it was nominated Best Indie Book of the Year by Paranormal Reads, and it came in second place. You know, if it was first place, I'd be really happy. And I'm still very happy it came in second place. Because, you know, when I was working on this, I never would have thought it would become such a phenomenon. I just thought I'm writing a book for my honors thesis because it would be an interesting experimental project to do. I'm going to challenge myself because I never would have thought I had the potential to write a novel, but I did. And now I see myself at the brink of writing the sequel and 2 more after that to make this a 4-book series. And if I never challenged myself to do that, I never would have known I had that within me. So in a sense, I created that opportunity for myself just by pushing myself. And then I becomes nominated by Paranormal Reads, and it's the second best indie book of the year in 2012. And it's amazing, these things. Sometimes in life we don't know what lies ahead, but if we know in a moment exactly what we gotta do. Like for me, I just knew I had to write this book. Like it was calling to me from my future, telling me in the present moment to do it. It was just telling me to do it, so I did it. And then it ends up becoming something like that. So in terms of the course material, it covers quantum psychophysics, morphic resonance, and morphology. So essentially, as I describe it, there's this student, the main character. He has somewhat of a supernatural ability, unlike anyone else in the book, where he can create worlds and realities, then jump inside those worlds. And nobody else knows that they're in a different world except for him. And I created a course material to go along with that, which was quantum psychophysics. We talked about morphic resonance and then morphology 101. So for the next portion of this lecture, I'd like to share a little bit of this, and I'll need 2 volunteers. All right, we got one more volunteer. Good, how you doing? All right, so I'm going to need you guys to read. So one will have to be Lauren. someone will have to be the unused.
You are.
Okay, all right, so you got one, and you'll give me the comments. So we're going to start at page 22, and we're going to act out this little excerpt for you of what it was like when the main character, Arrow, was in his first day of class in Morphology 101. I walk into room 111 for the first time. The first thing to hit me is the size and amount of open space. This lecture hall is giant. You can probably house 200 plus students in here. Where to sit? Who looks intelligent or interesting? Who shall I resonate with on this fine day of basic goodness? Oh, I see a spot. I find a seat, a good seat, dead center, right behind the cuties in the front row, but in front of the Joker, Sloman in the back row. A seat in between a couple of nerds. I know they are nerds because of their black-rimmed glasses, plaid shirts, pencils in shirt pockets, and graphing calculators. Note that this isn't even a math course. Who I resonate with is important to me. I absorb those in my environment and slowly become that which surrounds me. It's a little trick I figured out. Use your environment to make yourself successful. Now, this is success in terms of scholastic challenge. It is hard work that takes sincere effort. If we can meet these challenges sincerely, attacking them the way the Celtics will sweep the Knicks in the first round of the 2011 NBA playoffs, we better ourselves both intellectually and spiritually. Consider it a gung fu, if you will. Sometimes I cannot help but feel like everyone out there is conspiring to make me super successful. Friends, foes, all of them. The trick is to just stay aware for opportunities and take advantage when they present themselves. And being that this is Morph 101, I'm sure the professor already knows this. Speaking of the professor, where is he or she? It's already 5 up. Just as that thought fully passes itself across my internal awareness like a cloud liberating sunlight, the door slowly opens. All the students, well, all the awake students, look to see who enters. Could this be the moment? Is this the professor? A tall, middle-aged man with short, dark hair, clean-shaven face, and black-rimmed glasses, similar to the nerds, walks to the doorway. My neighbors must feel at ease right now, knowing the professor is of their kind. The first thing I notice is that all he's brought to class is himself and a stack of papers under his arm. No briefcase, no bag, no laptop, nothing. This will be interesting. My face turns inquisitive as I wonder what these papers are. Probably papers of the syllabus nature. $500 says it's the syllabus. I never miss out on a self-wager. If I actually paid myself, I'd be rich by now. I've been self-betting all my life. I basically do this, 1, to entertain myself, and 2, for the thrill that comes with thinking I have won large sums of money. He stands in the center of the room and begins to speak. I return my gaze to the professor. It's an unusual serenity behind his man, as he leads a well-balanced lifestyle. Good morning, class. I'm your professor, Dr. Henry Cooper. Welcome to Morphology 101, as he walks around the room passing out papers, which I assume to be the syllabus, and I hope to be the syllabus. I got money on this. I assume you are all here because you have declared quantum psychophysics as a major? Wise choice. You all must be... A student raises his hand and cuts him off. Before Dr. Hooper can acknowledge him, the student interjects.
Why is that a wise choice? I'm just in it because this school is famous for its psychophysics program, and it seemed kind of interesting to me after I read these books, Matrix Energetics and the Physics of Miracles in high school, which essentially explains how the human being and all forms of thought are 100% light on the subatomic.
The professor cuts him off, mirroring the student. What justice? Well, what are you doing in a one-on-one class? He scolds passionately. I'm teaching a 400 level seminar right now. Quantum transformation of the bioenergetic self. And those Richard Bartlett books happen to be part of the required reading material.
Oh, no way.
The student interrupts, almost falling out of his chair, as the people around him shuffle. The paper finally gets to me. It is the syllabus. I knew it. I knew it. 500 papers. Wait. Reacts Dr. Trooper calmly. Now, stop disturbing the class. If you'd rather be in that course in this introductory one, I will give you a commission number. Meet me in my office this afternoon. With his tone of voice, Dr. Rupert now directs his attention to the rest of the class, including the half that is still asleep at this bright time of 0800 hours. Now, for the rest of you, this is only day one of your freshman year. It is time to learn the basics. Let me ask. He pauses, as if cultivating an epic question. Who here knows what it means to be a quantum psychophysicist? A semi-attractive girl, 2 rows in front of me. Bleached blonde hair, raises a hand decorated in sky blue fingernails. Yes, you, the professor addresses. The Hillary Duff with the light. The class chuckles. A high-pitched voice fills the air.
Actually, my name is Lauren.
Ooh, burn! Some of the jokers from the back remark. Dr. Reproduce unwavered. Lauren continues.
So, like, it means to understand all psychological activity.
She's certain.
On both the physical and quantum levels, like, the point where, like,
Epic fail.
one understands that all mental behavior occurs in the fourth dimension beyond space and time, and like that thoughts reoccur in the present moment when they are like taking us into the next morphic unit.
Ending your monologue with a high intonation, as if proud of that answer. Yeah, Dr. Rupert responds. That's part of it. Anyone else have, like, something to add? I burst out laughing as he just mocked Lauren, possibly beyond her knowledge. Being the only one who reacted to his joke, he immediately looks at me. Mustering confidence, I raise my hand and prepare to wing an answer. Improv, gotta love it. Yes, you. The cool hair, he says, pointing to me. I start off my answer naturally, using the question to make it sound longer and more developed. Well, I begin, to be a quantum psychophysicist means to have an added insight to all the processes occurring within every living thing, especially those things that involve our direct sensory experience. Go on, he pleads. Time for more BS. How we relate to phenomena and stimuli changes when we think differently of it or focus on it. Our thoughts, projected auditorily or even silently, alter matter and atomic structure. The physics of the world around us expand when we think holistically and allow our consciousness to transcend beyond normal space-time parameters, which subsequently, he interrupts me. Caring to share with the class how consciousness transcends beyond the normal waking, sleeping, dreaming stages that most people never surpass. I giggle. I wish I could explain. I'm flattered. I don't know. It's just 1 minute, you're a normal consciousness mode. Minding your own business, thinking of your girlfriend or the Celtics or Ninja Turtle or something. Then some outside force instantly reminds you of the vastness of all things, of the eternal, infinite universe within, and boom, transcendence. Catch my drift, Doc? That is Doctor, not Doc, he retorts. Dr. Rupert, Edmund Rupert. Please treat me with respect. I'm sorry. This is the first day as a college student. Well, I forgive you. Thanks for speaking. Hope to hear more from you throughout the semester. Judging by that answer, something tells me you will make brilliant contributions to this field, class. What this fine man just did was shift gears from one matrix to another. Oh my God, he's right. I didn't even realize that with the explanation I did a little shift. And only those of you who were awake, truly awake, came with us from the ride to the next matrix, to the next set of transcendent realities. I love this stuff. Dr. Ripper's shift in tone to a more emotional, social state of expressing his love for transcendental matrices surprises me. I thought he was always composed, but I guess he has his moments. A confused student raises his hand.
But how do we transcend reality? I don't get it.
Dr. Ripper calmly explains. By naturally living within reality, we transcend its various stages. The true key to transcendence is letting the subconscious do the work. As you go about your life as you most naturally feel inclined. Resonance, from the quantum perspective, is all about making the unconscious conscious. Now, any more questions? The room goes silent. Apparently not. I gaze down at the syllabus, or should I say, my $500 bill. I hear a whisper in my inner ear of a vaguely familiar voice, a voice that is not mine. Do you believe everything happens for a reason? The minute you close your eyes, do you see the future? And if you could escape from your past, would you be ready for the next adventure? So that is an excerpt from Love Beyond Life, one of the early chapters, to give everyone an insight into what happens in a hypothetical university, and there's a lot more that happens here outside of school. And because I'm a psychology student and I believe in rewarding behavior and things, you guys can keep those books for volunteering. I appreciate it. So now if we return to this, quantum psychophysics, morphic resonance, and morphology 101, you all probably have more of an idea of what that means. But this class is still booked. Okay, all right, we have 15 more minutes. So, another way that the Indic Studies minor and department influenced my work here, there was once an event where it was a writing-based event for the Indic Studies. And it just happened to be that Dr. Singh was my writing partner for this event. And we had to write, just write some things spontaneously without thinking about them, without interrupting ourselves. And then afterwards, Dr. Singh says to me, wouldn't the ideal thing then to write perfectly the first time in one moment without error? And yet, I think it would be, and that would be very skillful. Certainly not easy to do, but when Dr. Singh said that to me, it definitely got my mind thinking, when I do pick up the pen and write, will that be exactly what it is to be? And lastly, I just want to make a point about the Indic Studies minor as a whole. I've benefited so much from it in terms of not only my honors thesis, thinking about how can I tie everything together, then also now with my line of work in the Wellness Center, understanding wellness, understanding Kriya Yoga, understanding the science of self-study, because that becomes so important. We are always with ourselves. It's hard not to be with ourselves. So we can study ourselves then every moment if we so choose to, and use that to help us reach our goals. So I would encourage you all to consider the Indic Studies minor. It's only a few courses. Take advantage of it now. I heard there was talk about it may not survive, which I think would be very sad because it's such an enriching part of the curriculum. Like, there's that saying, world class within reach at UMass, or at least there was when I was a student here. But what would a world class education be without India? India is such a big part of the world. So that's why I think it's very important. I want to encourage everyone to take advantage of that while they can. And the Kriya Yoga that Dr. Singh teaches, if you haven't thought about it, just think of this. It comes from a long line of unbroken tradition, which is very rare to find. I noticed as I returned to the country talking to people about where I studied and what I studied, this would always come up. First they would say, well, Indic Studies, what is that? And I'd have to explain it to them. And they'd say, oh, the study of Native Americans. I'd say, no, actual India. And then I get into talking about Kriya Yoga. And so many people were amazed that at a school, university, a state university, someone could learn this. And that is a great opportunity everyone has here, which you are all taking advantage of right now with this course. And you can further expand that into an Indic Studies minor. I definitely benefited from it greatly, so I'd like to share that all with you now. And let's see. So there's ways to stay in touch with me. I have my email, jeff@skillpowerwellness.com. Love Beyond Life is on Facebook. Some of my music projects, Left of Summer, Hope and Fire, and my Twitter, because one of my goals is to one day break Ray Allen's 3-point record, which I started working on when he was breaking Reggie Miller's, so I started shooting 3-pointers. And so I made a Twitter to organize that. That's one of my goals, which I gradually work towards too, because anything is attainable if we commit to it and we stay dedicated. I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Singh and the Center for Indic Studies for this opportunity. And if anyone has any questions, don't be bashful. And just to let everyone know things that I brought with me, I do have copies of my Love Beyond Life novel, my full SkillPower Vision program, and also demo things that I give away too for anyone like to try. The Vision program, I usually have some demo programs as well.